All right, Anastasia, here's another bit of feedback for you. So we'll use that quote in the question that you've created, assess. So we're going to be looking at making a judgment here. The inextricable connection Indigenous communities have to the land. That's a really good question. So we need to make a judgment on this inextricable connection, more than one. So you need to show diversity and you're linking it to the land. All right, so there's your bossy there. And there's your qualifier there. Wow, voracious. Land is the starting point to where it all began is highly voracious. That's a really good lead into a question because you're using the quote straight away and you're making a judgment here straight away as well, which is hitting the key verb, which is proven through the fact, okay, so you're really hitting that judgment there, which is excellent. That for Indigenous Australians, the land is the core of all spirituality. That's a really, really good opening sentence. Recreate that if you get a question on it in the exam. Indigenous communities have an inextricable connection between the land, as it is not dead, it is alive with power, and the ancestral beings who live in it. All right, that sentence isn't as good, but we can work on it. Indigenous communities have an inextricable connection between the land as it is alive with power. So you can just take out that bit there. As alive with power, alive with power, totemic responsibilities, sacred sites, and ancestral beings who live in it. You might even mention something about animistic nature of it as well. The land is where our ancestors went, and as long as the land lives, so do the ancestors. Okay, so you'd need to, so just as it is, you'd get a 3, but what you need to do is have some complementary examples in there about Indigenous communities, so you'd have to show more than one community about how they have that connection to the land. So we could talk about how rivers often form the boundary points for clans and where they go from one clan to another. So it's not like roads in our civilization, but for Indigenous it would be rivers, mountain ridges, plains, that type of thing. Wherever the edges of those are often indicate where a new tribe starts, clan starts. So you might talk about that and give some specific examples of there. You can even talk about like the Darug people in the Sutherland Shire sort of thing there. But you would need to find an example that shows that connection to the land through their rituals, sacred sites, like I said, obligations to the land, that type of thing. But you need to have concrete examples in there to get yourself up to a 4 or a 5.